Hi, I'm Ted Santos, and I'd like to have a conversation with you about business today. Specifically, I'd like to talk about leadership. And I'd like, as you see in the title, the Steve Jobs way. Essentially, we're talking about Steve Jobs navigating through chaos, through disruption. And I'd like to talk about something that's, I would say, appreciated by most. However, it's perhaps not as well understood by many about what it means to actually navigate through disruption and chaos. Most people think about disruption, you're going to uh, create a disruption in the organization with the hopes of disruptive technology. And yes, that happens often. However, what most people miss is the mindset that's behind what is required to be able to effectively navigate through chaos and disruption. So, if I say it short, chaos is not a problem. Chaos is something that occurs. It's how we view chaos that creates the problem. So, when you can navigate through something that's occurring as something that's occurring, it's something that's happening right now. The moment we start thinking that this is a problem, it's chaos, it's full of uncertainty, then that's when it becomes chaotic. So ultimately, it's how we master ourselves and our capacity to navigate through what's occurring. At different stages in our lives, what's chaotic at the age of 5 is not chaotic when you're 20. So you've mastered yourself significantly more. So you could say that's a key to being able to effectively innovate. And innovation really does take going through some level of chaos and breakdowns, problems, uncertainty. You can think of it this way: to get through the breakthrough, the innovative breakthrough, you're going to go through the breakdown, which is the front of the hand, and you're going to come out on the other side as a breakthrough. And we're educated to be orderly and organized and be smart and be effective. And going through chaos and uncertainty normally is not seen as being effective and orderly, even though there are patterns in chaos. So I'm going to show a short clip from Steve Jobs where he talks about the importance of allowing for that chaos to occur. But before I do that, in 2007, I came up with this idea. I was the American Management Association asked me to publish an article, and it essentially was about a disruptive leadership model. So at that time in 2007, I coined this term disruptive leadership. And as you see, disruptive leaders at their base, there is integrity, responsibility, accountability, and at the top, it's breakdown. So I was thinking in terms of Maslow and his hierarchy, his the needs of hierarchy. And at the bottom, there are things like food and shelter, and at the top, there's self-actualization. Well, you see at the top of my pyramid, I put the very thing that most of us want to avoid, which is breakdown, chaos, problems, disruption. If you want to use the nice word and say challenges, but essentially what great leaders are really good at doing, they're really good at intentionally creating breakdowns, problems in their organizations. And those problems are for their people to solve. So while most people believe the way Steve Jobs was so innovative is so exclusive to him, I'd like to dispel that myth and let you hear some words directly from him. The ability to navigate through breakdowns and chaos really comes down to mindset. And it doesn't matter if you're an athlete, an artist, uh, if you are a dancer or a musician, or you are a business person, you're a leader, mindset is key. Mindset will dictate whether or not you go through the chaos or you avoid it and stay in what people call the proverbial comfort zone. So let's hear what Steve Jobs had to say about that.
One of the things that really hurt Apple was after I left, John Scully got a very
Skip that.
one of the things that really hurt Apple was after I left, John Scully got a very serious disease. And that disease, I've seen other people get it too. It's the disease of thinking that a really great idea is 90% of the work. And that if you just tell all these other people, here's this great idea, then of course they can go off and make it happen. And the problem with that is that there's just a tremendous amount of craftsmanship in between a great idea and a great product. And as you evolve that great idea, it changes and grows. It never comes out like it starts because you
You see, what he's about to get into is a level of uncertainty, and he's going to give a great childhood example that influenced him and how he sees chaos and disruption.
learn a lot more as you get into the subtleties of it. And you also find there's tremendous trade-offs that you have to make. I mean, there are just certain things you can't make electrons do. There are certain things you can't make plastic do or glass do. And as you get into, or factories do, or robots do. And as you get into all these things, designing a product is keeping 5,000 things in your brain, these concepts, and fitting them all together in kind of continuing to push to fit them together in new and different ways to get what you want. And every day you discover something new that is a new problem or a new opportunity to fit these things together a little differently. And it's that process that is the magic. And so we had a lot of great ideas when we started, but what I've always felt that a team of people doing something they really believe in is like when I was a young kid, there was a widowed man that lived up the street, and he was in his 80s. He's a little scary looking, and I got to know him a little bit. I think he might have paid me to mow his lawn or something. And one day he said, "Come on into my garage, I want to show you something." And he pulled out this dusty old rock tumbler. And it was a motor and a coffee can and a little band between them. And he said, "Come on with me." We went out to the back and we got some rocks, some regular old ugly rocks. And we put them in the can with a little bit of liquid and a little bit of grit powder. And we closed the can up, and he turned this motor on. He said, "Come back tomorrow." And his can was making a racket as the stones went around. And I came back the next day, and we opened the can, and we took out these amazingly beautiful polished rocks. The same common stones that had gone in through rubbing against each other like this, creating a little bit of friction, creating a little bit of noise, had come out these beautiful polished rocks. And that's always been, in my mind, my metaphor for a team working really hard on something they're passionate about is that it's through the team, through that group of incredibly talented people, bumping up against each other, having arguments, having fights sometimes, making some noise, and working together, they polish each other. And they polish the ideas, and what comes out are these really beautiful stones.
I would say that's actually brilliant. Steve Jobs, his example of putting teams together who they argue, there are disagreements, they don't see eye to eye. It's chaotic. And you're taking ideas that make sense, they don't make sense, they make sense later, they make sense in a different context. There's so much uncertainty. Where are we going? And most breakthrough initiatives fail because people can't navigate through that chaos, that discomfort, the notion that maybe their idea doesn't make sense to the group, but maybe later it does as the group polishes itself. It whittles down all these ideas, 5,000 ideas that you whittle down into sort of a grain of rice. And what it takes to get there can be chaotic. And most people don't have the mindset. Most people want to be orderly. They want to feel good. We're told to be passionate about things. And in the moment it doesn't feel good, the passion disappears. And this is why it takes a very different mindset to be able to navigate through chaos. As I said in the beginning, chaos is not chaos. Chaos is something that's occurring. Your perspective of what is occurring is what makes it chaotic. So as long as your mindset sees chaos, we are trained to avoid chaos, problems, disruptions. It makes us look incompetent. The really complex way of saying this is you really want to get yourself to nothing so that you can just address what's occurring and navigate for in the best interest of the whole. What's in the best interest of the greater good. So if you are a person that wears your feelings on your sleeves and you don't feel good because someone said something that you didn't like, or they said your idea didn't make sense, you're going to have a very difficult time navigating your feelings through chaos because feelings want to feel good or they want to look good. They want to avoid looking bad. And so when I created the disruptive leadership model, it's really before you can master disruption, the whole disruptive leadership model, you really have to unlearn many of the things that derail you in the face of chaos and uncertainty. And that's really the key. Before you can jump into saying, let's be innovative, well, we have to look at what derails innovation. And that's a mindset. There's a mindset training that helps a person make quantum leaps in the face of uncertainty and breakdowns. And as I said, going through the breakdown to come out on the other side with a breakthrough, it's what happens in between that breakdown and the breakthrough is what Steve Jobs was describing in the tumbler, where the rocks are coming together, what they're polishing, they're creating something that could not have been done if there was just one rock in that tumbler. But with a team of rocks that are bumping into one another and they're uncertain about what's going to happen and what the final outcome will be, except they have to go through the occurring to get to the innovative ideas, to the breakthroughs. It's the disruption that is key. What is even more key is your mindset as you're navigating through that disruption. So, if you received any value from this, I'd like to hear what you did get from this. Also, like the video, share it. If you receive value, I'm sure others, people that you know, will receive value from this as well. So, like, share. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I have other topics like this that you would love to hear. I talk about the difference between leadership and management. Uh, Share my video, and I look forward to you hearing more from me in the future. I thank you for your time and attention. Take care. Thanksgiving is coming up. Enjoy the holidays. Take care and goodbye.